I want to say thank you for the people I invited that came. And blessings, I'm Marquita Tyson, the founder of Forgiving Father, Loving Mother nonprofit organization. I founded it back in 2021, and the mission is to help the youth and young parents escape the drugs and violence in our community. Oftentimes, when people create nonprofits, 9 times out of 10, they know that topic too well. And today's the lesson in Life by Design. We learned about addiction, and when I was reading it, I was thinking it was going to be more of addicted to drugs and things of that sort, but it's more addictions out in the world. But today I'll be talking about drugs and what violence we have in our communities. So what you guys have is the keys to self, which the topic is, I'll be giving you guys 4 main topics today, which is going to be keys to success, W2D2, and we're going to speak on drugs and violence. And I'll give you guys a little back history on my life of why I came here. How did I come up with these packets that has been inspired from the crisis that has happened in my life. So the first, if you want to take notes, the first 10 keys that I'm going to give you, of course, is more, but I'm just going to focus on 10 today since I don't have as much time. I don't want to bore you guys.
You're not going to bore us. It's not possible.
The first one is, well, I actually have a question before we get into it. What do you guys think success is? What do you think success is? You can go.
I think it's how you feel about yourself.
Okay.
That's what I think.
How you feel about yourself? Anybody else? Fulfilling your purpose. Well, ultimately, we often think that success is a goal. And I want to change your perspective today that success is not a goal, but it's a lifestyle. So instead of going for that big goal at the end, we actually start living in success daily. And these are the 10 key factors that if we start, that we can be successful once we leave out of here. We don't have to worry about it. You know, ultimately they think being successful is having lots of money, the fancy cars, the big houses. But that's not success, because once you get there, it's so easy for you to fall down if you don't have these 10 key factors. Yes. Number 1, humility. We have to embrace the humilities in our interactions, in our relationships. We can't think we're better than people. We have to know that we're all the same. No one's better than other. Number two is communication. We have to change how we talk to people. We have to be mindful of how we speak and express ourselves to others. They do matter. Then we're going to go with 3, appearance. And you guys understand why these 10 key factors are why I'm speaking about them first when I get into my story. You have to make sure how you dress and how you walk and how you talk is how you want to be perceived. We just talked about that. Then number 4 is, do we do perspective? Okay, number 4 is perspective. The positive outlook that we cultivate. Number 5, discipline. We have to practice self-control and consistency. Number 6 is discernment. We have to develop the ability to make wise and informed decisions. Number 7, lifestyle. We have to live according to a strong moral compass and ethical principles. Number 8 is our social circle. We have to choose friends that positively influence our growth. Number 9, the environment. Frequent places that foster. Number 9 is environment. Mm-hmm. Frequent places that foster personal and spiritual development. I know y'all was thinking like, wait, she's missing something. Number 10, we got to keep the faith. We have to know where our source is. We have to make sure that we keep him, faith, keep God as the center of our life, and we go, God is going to make us great in how we do. Now,
you send us a copy of that?
Yes, ma'am, I can. This is going to be in one of my books coming up too. So,
I'll buy it.
amen. Look, You guys are going to read it. I already told you guys. So I want to give you guys a backstory. The mission for Forgiving Father. Can y'all hear me? I've been okay. But the mission is to help the youth and young parents escape the drugs and violence. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, somebody that makes a nonprofit organization, their mission is very near and dear to them. So I want to let you guys know that I was addicted to smoking marijuana for 4 years. And then during that time, life went left for me. So I started off, I'm going to give you guys a back burner of everything, okay? Let me go to it. We're going to speak of humility first on what I told you guys. Oftentimes, I didn't do the high-end drugs that everybody else does, but marijuana, we think that is not a bad thing. You know, God grew it. It came from the earth. God made trees, but God also made toxic waste. Do you drink it? No. Okay, we didn't. So, so let's go. As a child, I was introduced to the DARE program. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of that. And at 15, my mindset was clear. Drugs were for losers, and I would never do them. I thought addiction was something that happened to junkies or people who were poor and made poor choices. I was wrong. Life has a way of humbling you. When you think you're above something, I had no idea that the environment, emotions, and experience would one day lead me down the very path I swore I'd never take. This was a pivotal change in my teenage years. I became pregnant at the age of 18. My senior year of high school, my life shifted dramatically. I became pregnant. I kept it a secret from the school, my mother, and other family members. The shame that whispered, the judgment, it all weighed on me. The hardest part wasn't just the pregnancy itself, but how the people I trusted turned against me. Some encouraged me to abort my child. Others betrayed me behind my back. I was loyal, loving, and true to those around me. Yet I found myself abandoned and broken. The stress and the heartbreaks pushed me towards drinking, and soon I was smoking marijuana every chance I got. Lifestyle and environment was a dangerous cycle. Marijuana made me feel good, at least for a moment. It relaxed me, it numbed me, but it distracted me from reality. I surrounded myself with people who encouraged my habits instead of pulling me towards better choices. One night, I threw a party at my house. 21 years old, just got my house. Everything's great. Worked 3 jobs to make sure I can get it, make sure all my bills was paid. And a friend told me we should have a party at your house. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm 21. You can go. We can go to the club. We can go get bottles. I'm eligible to do that. Let's do this. So we threw a party, which ended up, I'm guessing, got out of control. I don't know what happened, but the next morning I woke up, there was a bullet hole in my car as well as my house. And at that moment, I thought somebody wanted me dead. So my job at the time had opened a branch in Tampa, Florida, and I thought that was the greatest escape for me. So let's move to Tampa, Florida. So I left and went to Tampa, Florida. Thinking of a new location would mean a fresh start. But my habits followed me. I was still drinking, still smoking, and still lost. This is when discipline and discernment comes, the turning point. I told myself I would start a photography business and leave the past behind. But I had no discipline, no accountability, and no support system to help me break free from my old life. At 21, I was legally allowed to drink, and I fully embraced that freedom. I went to the studio with a friend as I returned back from Tampa. I was making me a song, still drinking. And the person that I went to put me on Snapchat. When I returned, I didn't tell anybody I came back, but they put me on Snapchat, and some people had wrote me, so you're back in town. You're acting funny. You don't mess with us anymore. God had already warned me to stay away from them, but I didn't want to hurt anyone's feeling. I didn't want people to think I was acting better than them. That decision led me into one of the darkest moments of my life. We're going to go back to appearance and communication. The night that changed everything. That night I was drugged, whether through laced marijuana or something in my drink. I still don't know. I blacked out and woke up in a parking lot. Confused and afraid, my car keys and my wallets were missing. A security officer, a black man like me, looked me up and down and said, whatever happened to you, you must have wanted it. after I asked for help. I don't know. My friends drove my car. They left me in Alabama. And I said, something happened to me. And he said, whatever happened to you, you must have wanted it. His words cut deep. Instead of helping me, he judged me based off what I was wearing. So I had on some booty shorts and a crop top. I was going to a party. I'm 21, right? Nothing, He saw a young woman in distress and assumed the worst. When a white police officer arrived after I told him I was going to beat him up because I don't like how you were talking to me, he decided to call the police on me. A white police officer came. He actually helped me. He found my keys and wallets behind a dumpster that they threw behind. But the damage has been done, not just physical, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Your social circle and faith. A battle for my mind. After that night, my mind began to break. I had visions, flashbacks, and memories I couldn't fully understand. I tried to share my truth, but people called me a liar. They said I was prostituting. Family members didn't understand me. My words were jumbled. My thoughts scattered. Eventually, I was committed to the Lakeview Center. I asked for help, but instead of receiving care, I was dismissed. They told me I didn't need help. I was sent back into the world, still broken, still traumatized, and still lost. And this is where I began to break those chains. It was a new beginning. But at my lowest point, I realized that marijuana wasn't helping me anymore. It wasn't numbing the pain. It was making it worse. My wake-up call came when I faced the possibility of losing my child. The thought of having him taken away from me shattered me. He was my precious joy, my purpose, my reason to fight. I stopped smoking, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. It wasn't easy. It took time. I relapsed. I struggled, but I kept going. I started listening to the Bible because I couldn't even bring myself to read it. I sat in silence, drowning in my own pain until God's word began to breathe life back into me. Slowly, I started writing again, documenting my journey, my pain, my lessons. This is the power of faith and redemption. People called me crazy. They labeled me as a bipolar schizophrenic, but I knew the truth. I had been spiritually broken, and God was the only one who could restore me. I stopped running. I stopped hiding. I faced the shame, the guilt, the trauma, and through it all, I found my purpose. Today, I stand as a testimony of God's grace. I overcame addiction, betrayal, mental battles. I learned the importance of humility, communication, discipline, discernment, and faith. I'm not ashamed of my past because it made me who I am now. I share my story to help others so they don't have to go through what I did. That's just the backstory of what I went through. And I'm thankful that I made it to where I am today. So how can what I went through be a lesson to the youth? That's what I want my nonprofit to continue to help do. How can we stop drugs and violence in our community? Can anybody answer that question?
Learning the word no.
How can you stop the drugs and violence in our community?
Well,
By being a beacon of light. Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Can't hide it.
That's true.
By showing them what true character looks like.
Oh, that's true. See, oftentimes when we are in those places, we don't feel like talking to people because they judge us.
Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, we need help. And then, you see somebody on a corner doing something and you're just like, nobody's going to intervene because they think they're a lost cause. My family thought I was a lost cause. The world thought I was a lost cause. I thought I was a lost cause. But God is the only reason I'm going to make sure that he's publicated in this. He was the only reason that I made it out of there. I've seen several people as I talk to the people that are in Forgiving Father, Loving Mother. They know things. They've seen things. They haven't recovered. Their mind wasn't there, and it's not there anymore because of how somebody drugged them, put K2 in something or whatever it is that they did, and they lost their minds. But how can we help our children? I say, yes, it starts at home. We have to be actively involved in our children's life. Teach, guide, and mentor them. We have to discipline them with love and set a strong moral foundation. We have to teach children humility, respect, and importance of treating others with kindness. We have to be role models. Your actions shape your child's future. We have to take accountability as parents. Parents must prioritize raising their children over partying, drinking, and using drugs. If parents are absent or negligent, children will learn from the streets. We have to have open conversation with our children about the life's dangers that we can prevent them from making harmful choices. We have to focus also on the influence of the schools and community programs. We have to get the schools to reinforce positive values and provide safe spaces for our youth. After school programs and mentorships can help keep the kids off the streets. Community members should work together to support at-risk youth and addressing the drugs. So when there's drugs, there's money, and when there's drugs, money, there's violence. We see it too often on the news. Where the drugs are, there is fast money, and where there is money, violence follow. We must teach youth that true success is not about money or the big houses or the fancy cars. Success is also about making the right choices, having integrity, and building a meaningful life. We have to change the narrative, especially on social media. Social media often glorifies violence, money, and crime. This must be changed. We need to uplift positive role models who promotes educational entrepreneurship and personal growth. Encourage the youth to seek real success, not social media fame built on negativity. We have to do community actions. We must get involved. If we want to see the change, we must take actions instead of just talking about it. We have to organize community meetings, youth programs, and mentorship program opportunities. Be present, volunteer, show the younger generations a better way. The harsh reality is the youth is dying. It's really touched my heart when I have to sit and look at my 8-year-old and tell him that a 7-year-old got shot in Jacksonville. I mentor some people out in Jacksonville. And to know my child is 8 years old, I had looked at him. I said, "How old do you want to live?" Our grandmother's 94 years old. She's still living. So the numbers are limitless. How old? He couldn't even say. Our life expectancy is 77 years old. For my son of being a black child, he is now look like it's gonna lower to 7. But in our community, it's barely enough people of the black males making it to see 18 years old. Why? I would say I'm actually tired of getting on social medias, turning on the news and seeing so much bad violence going on in our community. I get on Facebook, I see females fighting one another, stabbing each other. Down here in Pensacola, Florida, they post some videos of people laying on the ground dead from gunshots here in Pensacola, Florida. But something has happened, right? Something was not taught. These are the things that was not taught. If we can teach our children at the age 8 years old, younger, how to treat one another. We got mass shootings going on in the school, mass murders, New Orleans. How can we make sure that our children are not a problem in our future? And it hurts me to know that my little sweet child right there, once he turned 18 years old, that he's going to start looking like a gorilla that escaped out of a zoo, ready to attack and kill people. That's not what he is. But just because our color, we are perceived as that. But how can we change that culture? We have to break those cycles, to break the generational cycles. Many parents raise children the way they were raised, but we can break toxic cycles. We have to teach children about consequences, accountability, and faith-based principles. We have to be transparent with them about your past mistakes so they don't repeat them. I'm very transparent with my son. And yes, police brutality is a problem in our communities. but also black on black crime is also. While police brutality is an issue, we must also address the violence within our own communities. The black on black crime is real. How can we expect change if we destroy each other? The solution starts within respecting one another, uplifting each other, and setting new standards. Then we're going to go with faith, love, and humility. God is love. So why is there so much hate in this world? I literally don't know. To know that you can see somebody and hate them just because you don't even know them. And you there got hatred in your heart, don't even know who they are. We are all going through some things. We don't know. Why do we have to be mean to others? Why do we have to say hateful things to one another? Why we can't say things that'll lift them up? You never know what's going on in somebody's mind. You never know when they're on their last centimeter. They're so close to the edge. Why the mass shootings happen? Why are people killing one another? Because people are not showing them love. It can't be. We have to stop waiting on others and take actions in our community. So that's it on that part. But if anybody's interested in joining in on that mission with me to help the youth and young parents escape the drugs and violence, that would be great. I'm going to give you guys some facts about reality statistics. 155,000 youth are jailed yearly for drugs and violence. 190 million plus people are on drugs. So many categories of drugs. And oftentimes that we think that drugs are only in the bad communities, the ran down ones, but they're in the suburbs too. They're in the suburbs. So you got the low, you have the cocaine, you have the heroin, you have marijuana. That's a little bit in the black community and the ghetto, but then you have the opioids in the suburbans, the classy high drugs that we can't afford, right? But it's more than just looking at black people and white people, Mexican people, and thinking it's just there. It's all over the place. 190 million people a year plus are addicted to drugs, not just marijuana, but high-end drugs. We see people dying every day in Pensacola for fentanyl overdose. People going to jail for having so much fentanyl on them. Just a little dime. Just a little dime size piece of fentanyl, they say, can kill a person. A microgram. That, and we can die from that. And oftentimes when I was buying drugs, I didn't try to do no extra, get it under the microscope and see if anything's in there. We don't know what we're buying. They don't know what they're buying. All they know is they want to get high. They want to relieve that stress. They don't want to go through what they used to go through. They want to feel positive or peaceful. They want to float. They just want to feel like they're not on earth. But we have to change that. I'm going to get to you guys on the lessons that we have right here. Keys to self. These are some lessons I had to write down in my journey on who I wanted to be. So we start off with, who am I? And it goes down to, who do you want to be? And these are lessons that you have to take every 6 months to regain, know where I'm at, where I used to be, where am I going? And then if you flip the page, it's W2D2. So I came up with this program here because just like I was told, the world was told that I was a prostitute. I did this, I did that. This is why I came up with this. What will you do? W2D2. What will you do? What you won't do? What do you do? And what you don't do? And this is a packet that I would like you guys to do actually with your family. If you have children, do it in a group setting, judgment-free zone. But we need to know, what will our children do? What they won't do? What they do and what they don't. So if our children do drugs, I think we should know that. If our children will never do drugs, I believe we should know that as well. So if anything ever happened to your child, if your child is laced, drugged, if somebody says your child is prostituting over there, your child needs to be writing this down and letting you know if they will do that, won't, or don't. Because just as I was blacked out in a whole nother state, didn't see my child, or my mother didn't hear from me for a whole 12 hours or more, not knowing if I would run away. Did I run away? Did I just leave my life behind? I could have been dead. My mama wouldn't know anything. My child wouldn't have known anything. And when my sister was writing the people that I was with, they didn't respond. So will I run away? Will your children run away? Will you run away? That needs to be written down. Will you won't? Would you not? These are things we have to realize, and we have to spread that amongst our families. So we know if anybody goes missing, that we might need to go start searching. That we know that's not what they do, because she said it. But this is also something our perspective change yearly or daily. We need to reiterate it every 6 months. We need to know, is anything changed? We have to get real personal with our children, our family, and make sure that we know that they're okay, that they know right from wrong, that they won't do anything. So if anything ever happens to them, that we know they're going to be all right. We're going to focus on helping them. We're going to get them out of that situation. Marquita Tyson, forgiving father, loving mother. And we love to let you guys know that God forgives, and it's time you forgive yourself. Thank you.
Great. I don't know, I got the spirit now. Yeah.